So this tweet from Mark Moss, listen, sums it up. RIP bonds. This is the death of the 60-40 portfolio. I mean, if you've been a frequent listener of the Jack Mallers show, this isn't news. This is validation. It really is. And he's quote tweeting the executive order. I mean, 401ks are comprised of a bunch of crap, a bunch of stock indexes that don't matter and aren't performing, and a bunch of bonds that are getting obliterated. And let's get into the data. Let's get into the scoreboard. You know, this isn't just talk. There's action here. There's data. There's proof of work. This is Bitcoin and gold risk-adjusted returns. Look at all of this crap over here. Look at this. Long-term treasuries. That's what's funding my police workforce while I live in the murder capital of America. What the f***? Why is that our savings account? Look at this crap. Look at here. Long-term treasuries, aggregate bonds, U.S. real estate. Sweet. Yes. Now teach my children how to become adults and protect me from crime. Unbelievable. Meanwhile, look at the only participant in the top right, the king, lion of the jungle. And here's the thing, guys. People don't want to admit it. Money naturally competes. It does. It's true. There is no second best. There's no such thing. When you understand Bitcoin, it's not 1% of your portfolio. I can't stand when people say, no, I totally get Bitcoin, and that's why I made a 1% allocation. It's like, excuse you? So let me get this straight. You've figured out that Bitcoin is the best money in human history to have ever existed, and you decided to allocate 1% of your time and energy, your effort, your labor, your future? Either you're an idiot or you're a liar, because you either don't understand Bitcoin and you're lying that you've spent the time that you do, or you're an idiot. And when you found the winner, when you found the solution, you took 1%. Why would I allocate 99% to the loser? Explain that to me, smart man. There is one winner. I don't know how else to show this in visual form. There is one thing in the top right, and that's how money competes. It's highly competitive. What's the best way for me to persist my time and energy? Period. And here's the deal. When I say the 60-40 portfolio is dead, I'm not just talking about bonds, and we've talked a lot about this on this show. Stocks are a scam. Equities have been a scam. The idea that they've been performant is just because we've been measuring in dollars. If you measured in gold, we've already lived through a Great Depression level of performance in the stock market. We've been over this on this show, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this topic, but look at this. Ouch. The S&P 493, that's the S&P 500, excluding the Magnificent Seven, is expected to deliver just 2 to 3% net income growth. By the way, guys, that's, again, you think you're outpacing inflation with that? Newsflash, you're not. In Q2, Q3, and Q4, that's slower than inflation, meaning most of the market is barely growing in real terms. Measured against this, U.S. equities are quite expensive. In other words, they're more garbage. Trump is opening up the 401k and saying, get these pieces of trash out of the populace's savings so that when the dollar gets debased and we reorder capital flows and get ourselves out of this mess, they actually own something real. People say, oh man, yeah, my stock portfolio is up. But weird. I have to downsize the size of my apartment. Weird. I have a smaller grocery budget. Weird. I can't afford vacation this year. But no, trust me, man. My stock portfolio's booming. Are you an idiot? Are you an idiot? In real terms, stocks are getting murdered. If you want to buy stocks, just buy the Mag 7. That's the performance. And we go on to Mark Andreessen. Look at this graphic. S&P top and bottom performers. So the orange is the top 10. The red is the other 490. Okay? And the dotted line measures in real terms. Not any of that nominal garbage. Everything goes up in dollar terms. Everything. This microphone has gone up in dollar terms. This glass has gone up in dollar terms. My water bottle, I'm sure that this water costed $1 10 years ago, and today it costs $4. Wow, look at that performance. I should have invested in this water bottle. How about no? How about the dollar just sucks and gets debased, and fiat currency is a scam? How about that? So measuring things in real terms, you realize that not the majority, not some, 493 of the 500 companies in the S&P 500 do not perform in real terms. There's only a handful, like half a dozen companies that are actually outpacing inflation and delivering productive value to a portfolio. And of the S&P 500, exactly zero, where's my camera? Exactly zero, the number less than 1 and above -1, zero, are worth owning more than Bitcoin. It really sucks, but, you know, in an unemotional way, Bitcoin fixes this. It really does. Harvard buying Bitcoin was a seminal moment for this asset class. I'm telling you guys, that is the blue chip endowment. That is the blue chip. These capital allocators, because here's the thing, guys, they don't buy risk. They don't want to take risk. They don't want to bet on technology trends. They're looking to sustain value. They're looking to save for 50 years. And the fact that Bitcoin got that vote of confidence is a huge deal, because I'm telling you, all these pensions, all these endowments, all these sovereigns are getting murdered in these long duration bonds that they're holding. Murdered. And if they start rotating even a fraction into Bitcoin, it's going to be a massive deal, a massive, massive deal.